Fufu is a popular staple food in many African countries, particularly in West and Central Africa. While fufu is often regarded as an authentic African dish, several scholars and activists argue that its origins are rooted in colonialism. This article will examine the origins of fufu and its connections to colonialism in Africa, drawing on several scholarly articles and essays. One of the main arguments against the authenticity of fufu as an African dish is that it relies on cassava, a crop that was introduced to Africa by the Portuguese during the colonial era. According to James C. McCann in his article Revisiting Fufu and Aloko, Imperialism and the Politics of Starch, cassava was brought to Africa in the 16th century by Portuguese traders and was used as a cash crop. McCann argues that fufu, which is made by pounding cassava and other starchy vegetables, only became a staple food during the colonial era. Emmanuel Achimpong, in his article Fufu and the Colonial Economy in Akanland, builds on this argument by examining how the introduction of American crops like cassava transformed the foodways of the Akan people of West Africa. Achimpong notes that before the colonial era, the Akan people primarily relied on grains like millet and sorghum as their staple foods. However, the colonial administration promoted the cultivation of cassava as a cash crop, which led to an increase in fufu consumption among the Akan people. Nabako Ekoajai, in her essay A Culinary Tragedy, Fufu and Soup in the Erasure of a West African Cuisine, takes a more critical view of fufu's origins. She argues that the promotion of cassava and fufu during the colonial era led to the erasure of traditional West African cuisine, which was based on a diverse range of grains and vegetables. Eko Ajay sees fufu as a colonial imposition that has contributed to the loss of local food culture. Ama Sirwa, in her blog post Decolonizing Ghana's Food System, An Appearance of Fufu, further explores the impact of colonialism on African food systems. She argues that colonial influences disrupted Ghana's food sovereignty, leading to the promotion of starchy fufu over indigenous foods. Sirwa advocates for a return to pre-colonial foods as a way to decolonize Ghana's food system. While acknowledging fufu's colonial origins, Dinyo Sieb, in her article Fufu, A Staple Food with Untold African History, argues that fufu has now become an authentic African dish. Seed notes that fufu has been adapted to local tastes and cooking methods and has become an integral part of African cuisine. In conclusion, while there is some debate about the origins of fufu, it is clear that its popularity as a staple food in Africa is closely tied to colonialism. The introduction of cassava by European traders and the promotion of fufu by colonial administrations contributed to the erasure of traditional African food cultures and the promotion of starchy, colonial foods. However, as Seed notes, fufu has also been adapted and transformed by African cooks and has become an important part of African cuisine.